Sure that is moods. Start screaming. And I think we're live. I think we're live. Have I got my got my sound on? Got my right camera connected. Hi, we're not in the kitchen. Hi, Tropic Lush, how are you? We're not in the kitchen. This is a pretty, possibly quite a short show. I haven't even managed to get myself a fresh coffee today because we were going to do a live show, a full live show today, but we've had a hey Joshua, how are you? We've had things come up this week, which means I can't do the show. So let's just have a, so beautiful. I'm on it like a car bonnet. I'm going to do some questions. I was looking at the questions for the live show today and I want to answer some, so if you've got questions as well you can throw them up there. We're actually filming on location today. Hi David, how are you? We're filming on location at a brewery today. We filmed on a brewery location yesterday, so I've been having plenty to drink and really a fascinating experience. These are really really great. What is that? Army, my sister made the sushi rice cooker and got burned. You're supposed to put the sushi in the rice maker. Is that a nonsense one, Michelle? I'm not sure.
My sister used sushi rice in a rice cooker and it got burned. Are you not supposed to put sushi rice in a rice maker?
Oh no, you can put it in a rice maker. It's a little more difficult than using jasmine rice or the likes because there's a high, not gluten, but glutinous content in sushi rice, so you've got to be a little bit careful and make adjustments. Actually, if you use my recipe for making sushi rice, can't go wrong. As long as you've got a pot with a nice thick base on it, you can't go wrong really. It's easy. You can do it in 10 minutes from simmer to end, and it'll always come out perfect. And I do like dark ales, David. How do you know that? Have I said before? I do like dark ales, and I've had some really nice dark ales. Actually, here on the Mornington Peninsula in Australia, they've got some phenomenally good craft beer industries springing up all over the place. And I'm actually doing a sort of feature-length series to do with my travels around Australia, and this particular thing we're working on today is to do with the craft beer industry. So it'll be going up on YouTube at some point, but it's going to take quite a long time to produce. So you YouTubers out there, you'll be able to see it when I get it done. It's a lot of work. We've got several days of filming, so it's the reason why I can't do a full live show today. I'm actually got to be out of here in about sort of 45 minutes to an hour, so I'm just going to spend some time saying hello and let you know what we're up to. And you know, we've tried so hard to keep up with doing enough recipes to keep you guys entertained on YouTube, and it is hard when you're traveling and you're not actually in a home location and you can just sort of roll out video after video. So we do have to sometimes let you down and not do it. I managed still to get 2 videos up if you include flying a drone to crack an egg, which was just a bit of fun and really to fill the weekend up for everybody. We're working on another. Actually, there's a viewer, Ebba Little. She's a wonderful lady who follows us here on social media and YouTube, and she was telling me about a sweet pizza, and we're working on that. Actually, it's a very different style series, so it's taken me a lot longer to film than I thought. That'll be going up maybe the weekend after next if I get my editing together, and we're still working on that Mexican series. My God, so much to talk about. I thought I was going to be on here for 10 minutes. And I'm going to answer some of the questions from the channel. I'm going to flick through those in a moment. Joshua, it does sound like fun. David, cool. You're welcome, Army. Now, if you do check out that cooking rice, it works with almost any rice, from even the harder grained rice. You just gotta learn. Rice cooking is very simple. It's to us, it's a daily sort of thing. I think my camera on the screen might be the right way. Yeah, I think it's the wrong way round. So when I put this hand up on screen, it's that hand. So I have to, normally I flip that round. So how are you all? Hope you're doing beautifully well. As I say, we are going out today. I'm dressed in my khakis for Australia, and we're going out and doing some filming. And thank you, Jan. And we're going to be filming some phenomenally great stuff for an upcoming sort of more complex series that we're doing about Steve's Kitchen's Australian Odyssey. So we're going to be taking, as I've said for a long time now, we'll be taking you around. Now, when I say I'm taking you around Australia to show you what the beauties and the diversity of the food culture in Australia, please be patient. The trip actually to get around Australia is going to take us almost a year, so it isn't going to be up next month. But some of it you'll be getting sprinkles of it as we go. And yeah, sometimes I announce things and I suddenly realize, well, you know, we're not even going to be in Perth, for example, till 4 months. So I like jasmine rice, basmati rice. I like the wild red and black rices. I like all sorts of rice, David, to be honest. I'm a big rice fan. I love sweet rice dishes as well, and there are so many varieties of rice. If you like your rice, don't buy the sort of cheap supermarket brands of rice. Get in there. I mean, it doesn't cost much for rice, and just taste the different sort of nutty flavors and what have you. Hey Byron, how are you, buddy? Didn't see Byron sneak in there. Of course I remember you, mate. What do you mean, do I remember you? Chat every other day.
Marcy RP says hello.
Hey Marcy. Michelle's there just keeping an eye out, so if I miss things, hopefully she'll pick them up.
And Dean Mayfield says, looking spiffy.
I think I might have even already said thanks, D Mayfield. Miss Gogwan Red Feather says hi everyone, so hi to everyone. Look, I want to get onto some questions that I had lined up to answer this week, and it's just I'm not going to put them up on screen. We haven't had time to put the up on screen, but I'm going to deal with them anyway because they're good questions. And I'm going to start with VB Ed. He's a YouTuber buddy of ours and lives over in Perth. And he asked me a question about 10 days ago, and I said to him I'd answer it on the live show. So I'm doing that now, Ed. And he asked it on the banana bread, but it's not related to banana bread recipes. He's asked about jam making videos, and he's been making a fig jam at home, and he's had a few disastrous results. Basically what's happened is Ed is telling me his jam has become jam jelly, I think you called it in the US. His jam has become, when it's set, it's like a puck. Like he's got to actually heat it in the microwave to be able to serve it. And it's not all is lost, Ed. That often happens if you overheat the sugars, and it's not really because you put too much sugar in. You may well have used the right amount of sugar, but you've overcooked the sugars so they've got to the temperature where they've set to possibly even close to hard crack. Now, I haven't been prepared enough to get the exact temperatures, Fahrenheit and Celsius, but you can always check the temperature of sugars for jam making online. There's so many different references. But if you've got a jam, Ed, and it's set pretty firm, not all is lost. I mean, you can actually, as well, if the sugars have burnt and you've got that dark caramel flavor and it's spoiled the jam perhaps, then really you've messed up. And what you can do then is still follow these instructions, but maybe blitz it up and use it as if it doesn't taste burnt, you can use it as a pouring sauce. But you can recover jams like that quite easily by reheating them, adding some water, bringing them back up to the right temperature for jam. Adding a little more fruit in always helps. With fig jam, I would certainly add maybe some lemon rind in there as well, or just cut a lemon in half and dump it in there just to stop. It helps with a sort of glucose to fructose that changes the taste of the sugar, but it also helps it stop the sugars from burning and caramelizing. So yeah, I'd say, Ed, you can still recover it, bring it up to temperature, warm it, add some water in there so you're still sterilizing all the water, add some fruit back in there, you're still sterilizing, and make sure this time when you heat it, you don't heat it for too long. Get yourself a a jam thermometer or a baking thermometer. Quite often the jam ones have the temperature written on the side of them, and just bring it to that temperature. And by adding and not a lot of water, we're talking only about, if you've made a couple of pints of jam or a pint of jam, you probably only need to add in about quarter to half a cup. It doesn't matter if you go a little bit over, because the waters themselves will actually be boiling off. You could also add a little extra sugar. Remarkably, I mean, I know that sounds a little wrong, but you can add sugar in it. Now, if you cook it for too long, the waters will boil off and you'll be back to your toffee consistency. So that's why I'm saying maybe add some more sugar in there, so those sugars don't become caramelized. And you could always try this, Ed, with two batches. You know, you could cut your puck in half and do it in two ways. Two options: you either put boiling water in there and bring it to the consistency and let it thin down the jam, or which not always the best way, but or you introduce sugar and water in and do it that way. The fruits will help break down the sugars. Wow, that was a long answer. I hope that's okay, mate, and you can let me know. Hey Kenny, how are you?
Caroline Cunnis says hello.
Hi Caroline.
And Joshua2345 says, Steve, what flour do you prefer when making naan bread? My dad likes using atta flour.
Atta flour is quite good. Who said that?
Joshua2345.
Well, Joshua, yeah, atta flour. Not everybody gets atta. Atta is really the name for the Indian flours. I do sometimes like to use bread flours because I quite like the extra gluten in there. But you can experiment with when you're making which one for the naan bread?
Naan.
Oh, for naan. So you're not talking about my regular flatbread, but for naans. Atta is great. Regular all-purpose flour works quite well with naan, actually. If you're deciding to add in sort of like flavors into the naan as well, like caraway seeds, or if you want to add a garlic naan, or what's my favorite naan with the sweet.
Yeah.
Not Marrakesh. You thinking Marrakesh as well? We'll come back to you. There's a lovely naan they do with little sort of glacé pieces of fruit in it. If anyone remembers.
Barry says, I'm looking forward to your Swedish meatballs live stream.
Yeah.
And Jerry D says, I hope you're having a good Valentine. Yesterday.
Valentine was yesterday, and you know, I'm gonna have to be honest, we forgot all about it. You know, when you've been together as long as Michelle and I, we don't tend to do Valentines. I always think Valentine was really more about trying to woo somebody. It's become so commercial, and it used to be about trying to woo somebody secretly. That was the whole concept of Valentine, and Michelle and I are long past wooing each other because we get on too well already. I'm not trying to send out. You see, I would consider at my stage in a relationship, if you're starting doing Valentines, and I know everybody likes to do Valentines. Michelle and I do lovely things all year round, so I don't need Valentines to remind me to have a good time with my wife. Kashmiri naan. Did someone write that?
No, I
okay.
said it. I don't know.
Kashmiri naan.
Jan A says, just eating supper, having sweet potato.
Okay, right. How are we doing for time? I've got to get through these questions.
Okay.
So, I had another one from Despina Papakronis, and I'm not sure if I got that right. Sounds, I won't say where it sounds from because I get it wrong. Oh, it's on the Breville coffee machine. Now, Despina says to me, she's got this Breville coffee machine, the same, I think, model as I reviewed on my channel some time ago, and she's finding the coffee is coming out sour, and she's been trying to work out why. Now, quickly, obviously, different beans can affect that, Despina, but I think it's probably not that we're looking at here. She's saying that her coffee shots are sour, so she's been grinding and throwing the coffees away. She reckoned that expert had advised the perfect shot is 60 milliliters, and the one on my demo looked less. Right, let's deal with that.
I think
Pardon me?
I've deleted it.
Oh, I'm not on the channel.
Sorry.
Oh, is it the same chat? Is it, yeah. So we're going to get the odd Burke in, which is all good. It's nice when you start getting Burks into the channel, isn't it? You know, we got such good viewers and things. When the odd Burke comes in, it's kind of a little bit funny. So, Despina, yes, I actually, the shots you're seeing me pull on my channel would have been a double shot, which is still, it's a double shot, and it is around 60 mils actually, but it's using double the amount of espresso grind. Now, it does look quite short, and it should be, because if you start running, if you run an espresso shot, anyone that really loves their coffee will know this. If you run an espresso shot and you pop the teaspoon under there just as it starts coming out and give that a little taste, you're going to get all the sweetness, all the beautiful oils that come out of that first espresso, the first few seconds. If you let that run a little bit longer until it starts to get a little clearer, pop your teaspoon under again and taste it. Sour, disgusting. It's the worst thing. So when you go for an Americano, for example, and you run that shot very long, what you're actually doing is you're starting with that lovely sweet richness that you get from the espresso, and everything beyond that point, when it starts to go from the dark rich sort of treacle color to that lighter color, every single inch of that you're adding into your cup is sour and disgusting. Now, some people like that flavor. Americano coffee gives you that sort of flavor, and some people like it. But you don't want to run it long. Be surprised. I mean, suddenly you look in your cup. Sorry, this cup's not clean, but I mean, you'll look and you'll only have a shot that's just about up to there, and you think, oh, that won't make a good coffee, and you'll add, or a good cappuccino or a latte, and you'll add your milk in. It's still dark, still rich, and you get the most delicious taste. If you run your espresso up halfway up the cup and then add a little milk, or don't go for milk at all, it's going to taste sour, it's going to taste disgusting, because everything past the actual espresso, the initial shot, when you're in countries that really appreciate the espresso, I'll give an example of Italy, where we were in Sicily last year. When you're in those sort of countries, you will see that they're very short, and they're beautifully rich and sweet, and they really appreciate the fact that espresso shouldn't be run long. And I say, if you want to test that experiment, run that shot just as it starts coming out, taste that coffee, let it run longer. When it starts to get clear, taste it again. I guarantee you will love what comes out of the first shot and the second shot. You say, what do I want that in my coffee for? So don't run your coffees too. I suspect that's where you're getting your problem, running it too long. Hopefully that's answered your question, and you can always follow up on the thing. You actually asked that on the Breville Barista video, so if you've got further questions, go for it. I had another great comment from Maria White. It's on my candied peel, one of my candied peel recipes, and she was saying that she'd made lime peels, and they went kind of to a mush. I think they probably still tasted great, and they went to a kind of a mush. And she said, what's the problem? When she rolled them in sugar and then put them into a bag, the guy she made them from complained, well, that's not good. Shouldn't complain, not if you've gone to that much trouble, that it wasn't citrusy enough. So she added some lime juice and dried them out and tried to do it that way. Well, probably you might have. Here's what's happened. Limes are very thin-skinned quite often. A lot of limes are very thin-skinned, and they don't make the best candied peel. Hence you don't see a lot of lime. Sometimes they. I like to make my candied peel with orange and lemons, grapefruits even, and a lot of people, when they make candied peel, will take the white pith off, and there's no real need to. Once you actually blanch those and take a little bit of the bitterness out, and then add the caramelized sugars back in there, the whole thing will taste delicious. Now with limes, possibly you might have found your skin's a little bit thin, and it's easy for that to break down. You can very quickly overcook that and just end up sort of like a lime puree. So I would say don't particularly concentrate on limes for candied peel, unless you can get some of those forget the name of the limes. There's some limes that have quite a thick skin. They make good candied peel. Make them lemon candied peel and orange candied peel. You'll get a better result. And it's follow the recipe that I have there fairly closely. Actually, if you Google on my channel, search on my channel for candied peel, there's 2 or 3 different recipes. I've used it, so have a look at them. And I think hopefully you'll find that you'll get better results. Limes, as I say, they're not always the best candidates for candied peel, unless you find very specifically good skinned limes. Hey everybody, anyone else in that I haven't said hello to?
David A. Neely said back years ago they had a Cadillac coffee and it was naturally sweet.
Okay, well there's coffees around Southeast Asia where they use they actually put sugar in the roasting of the beans, a bit like chestnuts. They often do that because the coffee beans are not that great quality, so it sort of counteracts the bitterness of the Robusta beans that perhaps they're using. We are motoring on, and I'm sorry to, for sure, ask questions if you want. Now, on my flatbreads, not on my tortillas, which were made with masa flour, but on my flatbread video, a gentleman with a what looks like almost an Arabic name, but then says AIRBNB boy, said, can they do these flatbreads? And they're a little bit like a naan, which can be done in a tandoori oven. They said, can they do them in the oven? So you can imagine, right? Hi, Petri. You can imagine that when you're cooking a flatbread, a naan, you're looking to kind of sear. I think I showed that probably quite well recently on the tortillas. You're looking to sear the surface of the bread with immense heat, and then you get sort of like a crust that forms, and you turn it and you get a crust on the other side, and then it will split and delaminate and you'll get a nice pocket thing. So if you try to do that in an oven, you see the surface of a skillet can get to sort of I'll probably be guessing here, but sort of 200, 400, 500 degrees C, whereas the oven really doesn't get that hot, and certainly it's too uneven to give you that finish. So no, it's not a great thing to do that style of bread in an oven, unless you're talking a tandoori oven, which is more like a barbecue, so therefore you're getting those extreme heats. And also there are breads you can do in an oven, mind you. You actually can do naans in an oven because they're leavened breads, so therefore you know that's a different bread to the one they're talking about, where we're talking about a chapati or a flatbread. You could also do what's the pita pockets. So you can do pita breads in the oven, and I've got a video showing that. And again, that's a leavened bread, so it can be a slower cooking process. But when you're talking about flatbreads, really it wants to be in a skillet or a pan. No worries. So hopefully that AIRBNB boy has answered that question. If you do manage to, now I only mentioned to people we're doing this show 10 minutes before we started, so I appreciate most of you won't be able to get in. If you're watching this later on, comment away and I'll try to get back to you later. Now, on my Nutella lava cookies, and they're the ones where you broke them open, the Nutella sort of sauce run out of the center, and they were beautiful. Tower Warrior says, I like all your videos. How do you make old-fashioned popcorn? Now, quick answer to this one is I'm going to leave a link below this video because I've got a whole series on traditional popcorn making, and I'm guessing that you will find what you're looking for in there. If you want that sort of kettle corn effect, I've got a whole series in there, so I'll leave that link. That one's answered nice and quickly. Thank you very much. Bye-bye for now, Jan. On to, if I can get my questions out of the way, then I can just check. Somebody else, Hako. You can't see these, so I'm reading them out to you. This is on my Kewpie mayonnaise. What if I can't find soybean oil? Can I use a different oil? And this is to make Kewpie mayonnaise, not regular mayonnaise, just Kewpie. And if it's a Japanese mayonnaise, I think you get it throughout Southeast Asia, but you also get it almost everywhere else in the world. Short answer, no, you can't replace it with a different oil, because then it's not Kewpie mayonnaise. I mean, you can make mayonnaise with any oil at all, but Kewpie has a very distinct a subtle difference to others, and the main reason it has that subtle difference is because they use soybean oil. And so if you're trying to replicate Kewpie, use soybean. If you just want to make mayonnaise, I've got several recipes on my channel for mayonnaise using vegetable oils of all sorts, which you can do with things. The thing with soybean oil is its viscosity is very different to a lot of other vegetable oils, so it needs a lot more egg yolks to actually emulsify it. I hope this isn't getting too boring. So no, you can't use other oils for Kewpie. You've got to follow that recipe, and you do need a high spinning stick mixer to get Kewpie high. If you find it's not emulsifying, you're either not using enough egg or you're not spinning it fast enough. Gotta go, David, no worries. It's short notice today. I don't expect many people to come in, and I'm not too worried. We've got to get going ourselves very shortly. We're probably already running a little bit out. Now I'm going to give a little shout out here to a channel. It's called creatively Your Dinner, but it's spelled J-O-R Dinner. I had a message from a young lad. I get a lot of messages, please like my channel, please love, but they always seem a little bit insincere. I find they're just... Anyway, Your Dinner is a 21-year-old from Netherlands. He's got 6 subscribers at the moment. So Michelle, if you could put the link to his channel in the chat and below the video. I'd love it if you just go across and share a little bit of love and subscribe to Your Dinner, and just give him a little... He's doing a good job. It's early days, and I think he's doing a good job, and I've said as much on his channel, and I've gone over there and I've thumbed up his videos and subscribed. So every now and again, it's really hard on YouTube to really, and I should, if he watches this, let him know, you know, to get the success that you may want. If you're there just for success, it can be disheartening. It's really hard to get going, so share a little bit of love, get across. His name is Yuri, I think, Yuri, and he's Dutch, and he's doing his shows in English, so you can, it's got a great accent, it sounds really cool, and he's only done 4 videos, so you can spend a bit of time, watch him, subscribe to the channel, and say hello. So as Michelle, have you managed to put the link into the actual current chat? I didn't see it pop up. Yeah, in the chat, so people can go straight there now if they want to. So there he is, Yuri from Your Dinner, brand new channel. It's going to be a hard trek for him, so share a little bit of love, check him out, and he's doing some nice stuff. I like the quality of where he's starting off. Maybe he's done stuff before, maybe this is his first time, but every now and again, if you've got a channel, I do watch quite a lot of new YouTubers, and I should make more effort to shout some of you out. So Yuri, there you go, mate. I hope some of you get across and check out Yuri. Say hi from Steve if you like, but that's not so important. So yeah, and just hit the subscribe, see, you know, encourage him. He's really early days. I think he's only been doing it for 2 or 3 weeks, and he said that he was inspired by my channel. You know, whether that's the case or not, who knows, but it's nice of him to say so. So how is everybody? We are going out to a brew, so I'm probably going to be drinking beer all afternoon, and I'm not a big drinker, so I'll probably end up sort of a little bit giddy by the end, but we've got to get some professional work done first and do some filming and interview. Michelle and I are all geared up. You'll see on our Facebook that we were filming yesterday in a brewery, and thank you, D Mayfield. Pop across, subscribe. I'm sure he'll do a video every now and again and keep you entertained. And, you know, maybe I've told him to get on camera and sort of like get his personality across. I think he should. I think anybody now that's doing that sort of head down sort of cooking thing, it's all very well if you want. I think that style of who on earth's making this video is being done to death on YouTube, and I think they've all tried to do it because they basically want to square up their videos for Facebook and that. But there's no, you've got to get your personality into a show. So what's the point? If all my videos were face down, you wouldn't even know who I am, which might not be a bad thing. And yeah, you're Raggy, yo bro. Raggy, I'm not staying on much longer, man. So if you're in the middle of a susu, I'm going to be going shortly myself. We've got to get to a brewery. As they say, you couldn't organise a pee up in a brewery. Well, I can today because I'm going to a brewery to actually organise a film shoot, and we'll be doing filming in 3 or 4 of the beautiful breweries here in Australia over the next few weeks, and producing what I hope to be a really fantastic episode on the craft beer industry. So look forward to that. It's probably a month or so away yet. It takes a lot of filming, a lot of editing, as we are finding out. So what's everyone been up to? If you want to tell me right now what you've been up to and how good your week has been or how bad your week has been, you've got 5 minutes to do so before I have to split.
Jasper Edwards says greetings.
Hey Jasper. Jasper in Germany, I think, aren't you, Jasper? Guten Morgen, guten Abend, wie geht's? Actually, I'm not sure if you're German, Jasper, but I think you're in Germany. Thank you, Miss Gogwan Redfeather. Bye, Kenny. I was just about to take Denise out for their Valentine's Day party on. I was saying, Raggy, Michelle and I don't really do Valentines. Every day's a Valentine for us. So I kind of turned my back on that commercial sort of side of things quite some years ago. Wasn't it when we were kids, Raggy used to sort of write a little Valentine card and give it to somebody discreetly who never even knew they were getting it? Wasn't that what Valentine's was all about? Discretion. And now it's just like, you know, Happy Valentine's Day, cake, chocolate. You know, not too many surprises. It's actually more of a surprise if you don't get a Valentine's thing, and then you're going to sort of moan and groan to everybody that you haven't got Valentine's. That's too hard, man. Oh, Carl. Thank you, Carl. Super chat. Beautiful, man. What are you saying? I've started watching your videos and I really like them. I was wondering if you could help me with a disaster I ran into. I can. Explain more. Catching me on the way out, Carl. So explain to me what it, oh right, I left the turkey in the fridge for 3 days and it looked thawed, but it wasn't. Everything felt thawed, but the center was still frozen. How is the best way to thaw and determine if it's done? Well, look, when you Carl, when you've got it's quite important to thaw out birds, as you know. The simplest way to thaw it out is to put it into a bag, seal it, and put it into warm water, not hot water. You don't want to actually cook it through, but if you put tap hot water, and depending on your taps, not too hot, and you put it into a bag and you pop it in there, the heat of that will actually penetrate slowly into the bird and help to defrost that quite quickly, actually. A turkey is a big bird, so it takes some time. I'm not keen on, what would you say, Michelle?
Yeah, turkeys are a bit big, aren't they?
They're a big bird. It's hard to get into that core. Now, the other thing you could do, if you can get into the cavity at all, would be actually to put warm water into a Ziploc bag. Not hot, you don't want to be scalding yourself. Warm water into a Ziploc bag, one that seals, and you can get the warm water into the cavity as well as putting it into warm water, and that is the best way to really defrost a bird. I mean, some people will microwave it. I think it starts to kill the quality of the bird itself, so you don't want to do that. Natural defrosting is always the best. The other way, depending on what you're doing with it, Carl, is if you're thinking of spatchcocking the bird. If it's got to be a presentation bird, then you probably don't want to do that. But if you spatchcock, which is basically cutting the bird from the across the breastplate, across the breastplate, Michelle. I'm
Yeah.
just checking because
Yeah.
we have not spatchcocked for a little while. You can look at I haven't time to actually demonstrate that, but spatchcocking is where you break the bird flat, and you'll see that done in a lot of sort of special chicken places, and that they often flatten the chicken because that way it cooks super fast, so you can actually cook the bird a lot quicker than you would normally. What do you think, Michelle?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was probably because it was in the fridge. The fridge would have kept it too cool, and that's why the middle didn't defrost. So it's getting it out enough so that you can get sort of the middle defrosted.
Yeah, it's amazing how long a bird takes to defrost, Carl. It's really getting it out and initially keeping it on the side, if you know that it's because it'll stay cold for quite some time. And I'm not sure what temperatures you're at. I mean, in Australia here, probably what I would do is actually bag the bird and put it out in the sun. Not directly in the sun, but in the warmth of the sun, and let it thaw out that way.
I mean, if you leave it out overnight, out of the fridge, most places it should defrost.
Yeah, a decent size. Do you know what size the turkey was, Carl? How many pounds or kilo it was? Turkey doesn't always have to be that big. Of course, that's going to make, yeah, the secret love, says Raggy. So we're all doing it now, though, Raggy. We're all playing to the fiddle of corporate worlds and being forced to do Valentine's. What I suggest you do is wait until Valentine's is completely out of the way, a week, 2 weeks out of the way, and then do something you would want to do on Valentine's Day, you know, for your loved one or somebody that you are stalking. No, don't do that. But yet, when we were kids, you kind of were at school. You were sending cards out to people, you know, to anonymously because you had a sort of crush on them, and that's what Valentine's was all about. So, Carl, is that helping at all?
Yes, always heard to thaw in the fridge. We're not going to try that again. £25, so about 12 kilos.
Yeah, it's a big bird. Yeah, thawing in the fridge if you've got smaller birds or meat is always the way. But when you're talking about a turkey, that's a big thaw, and I would say leave that out overnight initially and see if, and then put it in the fridge for the final bit of the thawing. But as I say, you've just got to get warmth into that bird, and the best thing is going to be, it's a big bird, so if you've got a big tub like a washing laundry basket and you can get it in and seal it into a bag, you can help. Or, as I say, get a Ziploc bag and put hot water from the tap, not from the kettle, because you'll cause problems, and get that inside. What else? You don't want to get the hot temperatures to actually spoil the bird itself, so I would say water is your friend. And thank you, Carl.
Okay.
So we are going to be heading in the next 10 minutes out on a location shoot, so I probably can't carry on much longer. I really appreciate you all coming in. I appreciate to Carl for the super chat. I don't think we've spoken before, Carl, so that's nice to see you here. Hey, Leslie's in. Beautiful. How are you, sweetheart? We're just about to run off, so if you can watch this through again, Leslie, I'd appreciate appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. Only if you want to, of course. Do you like my khakis for getting out? This is going to be for my Australian Food Odyssey. This is the colours that I'm wearing. So, should be good. Anyone else there want to add any tips to Carl? Welcome to do so. Yeah, it would take a long time in the fridge to defrost at 25 pounds. By the time you've got that the core of the bird is frozen, it's a long way. It's a deep way down. And some fridges are colder than others. I mean, you can almost keep things frozen in the fridge for a week or so if they come straight out of the freezer. Yeah, warm water is, I think, the best way to go. Very warm water, by the way, but not so you can, if you can touch it, you're good. So don't use kettle water. Look, everybody, can you hear that rain? I got to film on location. Lucky it's all indoors in a beautiful brewery here on the Mornington Peninsula, so it's all going to be great. Bisa Trio is in. Trio.
No, we've got to wrap up because we've got some lunch.
Yeah, I've got to wrap up. So love to you all. Now you could also, and we've done that. What about boiling the turkey before roasting it?
Yeah, but you still need to be turkey. It still needs to be defrosted
Yeah, it
before you
does.
start.
But if you put it into a tepid water, into warm and boiled it up, sometimes actually, in the past we've done turkeys. We've actually boiled and cooked them boiled. But I don't want to get too complicated for you. We could get that bird defrosted and cook as normal. So I'm going to have to roll. Think of me toughing it at the pointy end at a brewery, sampling some of the most beautiful beers. And I can tell you, some of the beers we have here in Australia are some of the best in the world. And so I'm a great lover of wine. I don't drink a lot. I don't drink from 1 month to the next, quite honestly. So I can get tipsy pretty quickly. But I can tell you, as a red wine drinker and lover of fine wines, beers can be equally as outstanding. Some of the beers I've tasted, they're as different as Fanta is to Coca-Cola in flavors and complexities. They're amazing, amazing, and we'll be experimenting with some dishes that go with some of these beers as well. So, sorry, Wendy. Yeah, the notification was short because we were going to do a full cooking show today, but we've had to cancel it this week because we've got this live location. Leslie saying hi. Come around, Michelle, and just say hello.
Hello.
Oh, I'm putting my hand up in there. She's going to be my camera girl today.
And designated driver.
And designated driver if I have too much to drink. And too much is not a lot. Not in my world. Beautiful beer, rum distillery. Well, actually, one of the beers that I tasted yesterday was actually matured in whiskey barrels from the USA, so it made a phenomenally good. Actually, I didn't taste this one, I must admit. Some of these beers retail at sort of $40, $50, $60 a bottle, and that might sound quite crazy, but they're done. They're really quite special beers for special occasions, and some of them are just regular bottles from our breweries here. And the hops and the flavors and the complexities of them, it's outstanding. Anyway, you'll see the series. It's going to be called A Brewer's Tale, Steve's Kitchen, Food Odyssey Australia. So look out for it maybe in about a month and a half. Have to leave, gotta go. Love to you all. Take care, share the love, share this video with your friends and family, and I will see you very shortly. Take care. And I know the stop buttons